Hogy... Biztos működik. Jónak tűnik. Akkor folytassuk. Mi a fasz is volt? Nem igazán emlékszem. De volt még egy küldetésem. Történt valami? Vagy ez is egy lift. Még nincs is lőszer. Ó! Ez tök jó.
Hey there, what can I do for you? Damn, fine, you got me. I ain't a receptionist. Truth be told, I'm glad you know. Lying to a stranger weighs heavily on my spirit. I was hired to cross off Ms. Lockwood. Thought I'd pose as her receptionist. Brilliant, right? Thing is, she ain't shown up in ages. So here we are. I'll just tell her I'm the replacement. If she calls me on it, I'll kill her. If she buys it, I'll kill her. Win-win. Ha! Hope you don't mind a bit of competition. May the best receptionist win. I'm gonna wait for her to return. Tell you what, you find out where she is, you let me know. Yeah? As a professional courtesy. Then we can both have at it. And whoever kills her better gets the contract. What do you say? Yeah, I'm excited about this.
Lenyomunk mindent. Itt se voltam. Heavy light, heavy energy. Nagy fasz energy. Várjunk. Ez ugyanaz, csak más lőszer. Light. Mindegy.
Well, you're obviously not from around here. I don't believe I've ever seen visitors in the Bureau before, come to think of it. If you were from around here, you'd probably be off enjoying yourself in Prosperity Plaza, not poking around the Bureau. Alonso Vallejos. Extraordinarily pleased to make your acquaintance, and so on and so forth. I'm currently operating a sightseeing tour of sorts. Think of it as a guided journey across Halcyon. Would you be interested in a trial run? Are you sure? There's a fancy hat in it for you. Fair enough. If you change your mind, I'll be here. And remember, fancy hat.
Nem győzött meg. Nézzük meg a mellékküldiket. Nem is ide szól, várjál. Ez Grand Breaker. Ez meg hova? Ez meg.
Get away from me! Were you following me? Back off, all right? I've got a slide rule and I'm not afraid to use it.
Hey, you found her. I'm a little miffed you didn't let me know, but all's well that ends well. Let's get to killing.
What? Killing? What the fuck is going on here?
My friend and I here have jobs to do. You just sit tight for a minute while we discuss how we're gonna handle this. Yeah, look. Reception doesn't pay as well as it used to. Turns out I really need this. I know, I'm a jerk. Hate me if you want. But I gotta take her head in. The contract calls for her maps, yeah? Half the bits for the maps, half for the confirmation of the kill. How's about I take the kill, and you take the maps?
Hold on, okay? Just hear me out. What if...
Will you pipe down? We're trying to have a business meeting here. You must be new to the assassination game. If you talk to your victims, it makes it harder to kill them, see? It's not recommended. Didn't you read the handbook?
Please, just listen. You don't need to...
Shush! Oh, all right. The anticipation is killing me, though. Get it? Because I want to kill her?
Wait. Whatever the contract is, I'll pay you both the full amount. You let me live, and you don't have to split anything.
That's a lot of bits. But, I mean, I've got a reputation to uphold. How would you feel if someone paid you to make bogus maps? You know, my friend, that's a fine point. If I hightail it out of here, I can avoid the inside of a cell for once. All right. Deal.
Thank the law. Here's your half. And here's yours.
Right. Well, you two, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure. Yeah. I honestly hope I never see either of you again. I swear I'll leave Byzantium. I'll leave Terra too. I'll find a way off Halcyon if I can.
Should I say it? Should I go now?
System.
Ami drogtelepnek tűnik innen. Én kilőttem volna őket. Mindegy. Voltam. Na jártak ki, ja. Shit.
Fun ever happens in this town.
Get Gabbit or get going. Ami energy pedig kurva jó lenne, ami... Na mindegy.
Do we really need all this?
Na, eltévedt a lift.
How may I be of assistance? Wonderful. I'll file the appropriate paperwork on your behalf. Meanwhile, Adjutant Akande would like a word with you.
You allowed Rachel Lockwood to walk away with her life. Do you realize the inconvenience you just caused me? Yes, you did. I've already filed Lockwood's termination papers. Now I have to go wading through an ocean of red tape just to correct your mistake. Leaving her alive complicates matters. But that's now my problem, not yours. And you've brought me Lockwood's papers, as I asked. You've demonstrated your talents. If you're ready to talk about Phineas Wells, I'm prepared to listen. I appreciate that you want to drive a bargain. You understand I'm not paying you for anything less than reliable information. Wells had to be in touch with you somehow. Find his communication terminal and send us a tracing signal. Once I verify his location, I'll arrange for your payment. I always reward good work. Deliver Wells to the board, and you'll be more than compensated. Percival will file the appropriate paperwork on your behalf. Once you've sent a tracking signal from Wells's lab, we'll move on to the next step.
As instructed, the code for our secure communication channel. On behalf of the Halcyon Holdings Corporation, I bid you good day. Oh, just a receipt for your services and my receipt for your receipt, and also a standard declaration of intent to perform espionage. Very routine. I'll see to it personally. I'm flattered beyond description.
Kicsit jobb lett a DPS, nem sokkal. Ez itt van benne. És hogy jutok oda? Jöjj a hajóra. Ó, mondjuk akkor mehettem a teleportálásra, mindegy. Unreliable.
I am a dirty, autonomous digital astrogator, Sam. I haven't cleaned my internals in ages. Can you halt? We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
Can we talk?
I've heard those iconoclasts have a rather smashing opinion of you. Get it? Smashing? Iconoclasts? Oh, never mind. What's on your mind? Absolutely. Let's talk. Oh, goodness, no. I wouldn't survive 10 seconds in the blackness of the aether. Well, no, I imagine I'd last at least 12 seconds before I'd lose consciousness and die of hypoxia. Life outside work? No, of course not. My life is my work. For that matter, everyone else's lives are also my work. An entire colony's worth of lives are at stake. It's up to me, up to us to set things right. To answer your question, I'd rather stay right here in my lab. There's too much work to be done. The Hope's colonists won't revive themselves, you know. Of course, I'll be here, as usual.
Nice. You have a message from Adjutant Sophia Akande.
I'm impressed, Captain. I almost expected you wouldn't go through with it. Your signal made it through. We've pinpointed Dr. Wells's orbital lab. Excellent work. Come visit me in Byzantium. We need to have a talk about the future of this colony. Transmissions are so impersonal. I'd like to meet you face to face.
Adjutant Akande has ended her call. Rather rudely, if I might say, considering she didn't sign off. Will there be anything else, Captain? We are now in orbit of Byzantium, Captain.
I'm curious. Wells may have been a delusional madman, but he risked his life to save yours. So why turn him in? Revenge is a powerful motivator. Wells was thoughtless and manipulative. Turning him in was the right thing to do. You've done well. You're efficient, talented, loyal. And if you're ready to get to work, we can finally start doing some good in this colony. My sources tell me you've been busy on Monarch. I'm sure you've seen the miserable state of affairs there, but lawless cesspool that it may be, Monarch has one important asset. All of Monarch's extraplanetary broadcasts are routed through Devil's Peak Station. I want you to claim Devil's Peak Station for the board, by force if need be. I have an agent working in Stellar Bay, Everett Gill. Have a word with him as soon as you arrive.
Scusi?
The passphrase is, the kind of pine grows at night. Yes? So what? Look, that's not important. Get to Stellar Bay and find Everett Gill. Speak to Percival before you go. He'll arrange for your reward for turning in Wells.
Unreliable.
If you stop in the engine room... We're now in orbit above Fault Rock, Captain.
Titus Androidicus.
Why do people make such a big thing out of hiking? Once you're up, you just gotta go down again.
Valahogy van egy kurva lépcső. Vagy lift.
So much for peace and quiet. Would it kill the universe to cut me some slack? Allow me to assure you that I know absolutely nothing about any allegedly illegal broadcasts. Surely the board is aware of that. They must know I'd never involved myself in such despicable activities. There's utterly no reason to arrest anyone in this broadcast station, let alone me. In fact, you're doing me a favor by helping me disable any alleged such broadcasts, if they exist. You could do me another favor by mentioning my loyalty to the board in your report.
I don't think this fellow's entirely on the level. You've got a real creative definition of loyalty, and I mean that as a compliment.
I'm not sure whether to be touched or insulted by that. Look, you never met a man more willing to work with the board than me. I know we can come to an agreement, please. Sophia does? What sort of an amount are we intimating here? Never mind. The details are of no matter for now. I'm happy to help the board in any way I can, for so long as they consider me a friend. And as you've already shut down the transmission from Amber Heights and Stellar Bay, you've effectively ended all unregulated chatter on the planet. I suppose it won't kill me to work under Sophia. I am on familiar terms with her from a, let's call it a past contract job. As I am now inextricably in the board's service, I'd say we're done here. Unless, of course, you require anything further. Give my regards to Sophia, won't you?
Szóval vezet, mert állandóan körbeér. Van egy létra. Földtük. Aztán. Vagy nem.
I sure hope you got a Conde to pay you up front for that sleight of hand with Wells. I mean, you seem to be doing her a lot of favors. I figure if the board's rates are that good, I might as well ask you for a reference. Just make sure you have your terms in writing. Maybe tattoo them if you can spare an ass cheek. Those board folks are slippery. My daydreams just got a lot more interesting. But I'm getting off topic. What I really want to know is why cozy up to the board in the first place? Most of the crews I've run with keep their distance. Can't argue with that. Most anyone who's tried is a sooty crater by now. For what it's worth, I think you're making a smart move. Just watch your back. These new friends make bad enemies. Of course you do. Anything else?
You seen Arthur today? I say, all that screaming.
Még nem is voltam.
Dr. Wells has failed to discover the tracking signal broadcasting the location of his lab. I have revised my estimations of his competence accordingly. We are now in orbit above Byzantium, Captain.
I've just finished reading a report of your work on Monarch. The broadcasts have been silenced at last. I almost regret the passing of Mr. Nandi. He would have made a fine bureaucrat if he hadn't sacrificed his loyalties. And you brokered an alliance with the broker himself. Hiram Blythe is a valuable asset. Well done. Your work is exemplary. You've earned a place in the chairman's inner circle. Congratulations are in order. Now we introduce you to the chairman's plan. Turn your eyes to the screen.
Good afternoon. I'm Chairman Rockwell, and I'm here to address a serious issue facing us. As you all know, our colony has been successful beyond our wildest dreams. Unfortunately, we've recently discovered that our food supply will not be able to sustain Halcyon's population in the long term. Everyone will die. Everyone will slowly stop living from malnutrition. But we're doing it together, and that's what matters.
I fucking swear, if someone doesn't give me something to read that will placate the masses soon, all of you will find yourselves violently unemployed.
But I can assure you there's nothing to fear. We've got a solution. It's called the Lifetime Employment Program. We will freeze most of the colony to preserve resources, while the best and brightest of Byzantium continue living in prosperity.
Look, you idiots! How many times do I have to tell you we can't say shit like that? Fire whoever wrote this!
While Halcyon's brightest minds solve the problem of our nutritional shortage, the rest of the colony will be placed in suspended animation. Individuals will be revived on a rotating basis, so that every Halcyon can be part of the important work of saving our colony. By testing paperweights. Sorry, couldn't resist. Let's go again. And someday, in the not-too-distant future when we've solved this crisis, we'll all be back together again working for the good of Halcyon. Until then, the board shall provide for the deserving just as it always has. So, obey your supervisors, take your vitamins, follow your corporate-mandated grooming rituals, and rest assured with the board on your side, there is nothing to worry about.
Beteg.
Halcyon is on the verge of a total systems collapse. The truth is ugly and difficult to accept, but we must accept the truth before we can move forward. Malnutrition is already a problem. Disease will come next, followed by starvation, followed by a breakdown of society, followed by extinction. I know this must come as a surprise to you. I imagine you have questions.
Is that why we were suffering plague in Edgewater? Malnutrition? All those folks sick and dying, and you knew why the whole time?
Yes, Miss Holcomb, we knew why. We've known for some time that Edgewater was dying. The colony itself is dying. The suffering you experienced in Edgewater, the disease, the starvation, will soon spread across Halcyon unless we act.
What's in this for you? There's gotta be an angle. There always is for people like you.
I appreciate your skepticism, Dr. Fenhill, but I'm not doing this for any personal gain. My angle is the preservation of our colony by any means possible. Nothing more, and nothing less. I won't pretend the truth isn't damning. Yes, the colony is on the verge of collapse, but there is a way to save it. We need to talk about Emerald Vale. Thanks to your meddling, Edgewater is without power. Operations have ground to a halt. You've left us with a useless town draining our resources. Edgewater needs to go. I want you to wipe the town out. No survivors.
I get that you board types are all about efficiency, but isn't this a bit much?
I'm asking your captain to amputate a rotting limb from the colony. I'd expect you to understand, Dr. Fenhill.
You're a monster.
Someone has to be. Now is not the time for half measures, Captain. I need a decision from you. When you diverted power to the botanical lab, you spelled the end of Edgewater. But the town is still hanging on, still living off whatever meager resources we send them. With every passing day, Edgewater leaches more of our limited resources. The town is a rotting limb, and we must be surgeons. Because right now, you're the only person I can depend on. My hands are tied by endless rolls of red tape and bureaucratic limitations. Halcyon is going to collapse while the board hems and haws and debates minutiae. We need to act, and you're the only person with the wherewithal to do what's necessary. I'm not asking you to be a murderer. I'm asking you to be a surgeon. Edgewater is a necrotic limb on the body of the colony. It must be severed.
I won't. You're better than this, Captain. You have to be. Don't make me choose between you and Edgewater, Captain. Between you and my people. Please.
I'm glad you can keep control over your associates. Edgewater is beyond saving. We're going to have to erase the town, but we're going to do it systematically. You were in the Emerald Vale geothermal plant. Do you remember what you discovered there? There was an accident at the Emerald Vale geothermal plant many years ago. Automechanicals turned hostile and slaughtered the plant's workers. Tragic, really. In fact, Spacer's Choice manufactured the incident for an insurance claim. They outfitted their mechanicals with a termination protocol, which is exactly what we need. I'm arranging for a delivery of mechanicals to Edgewater. These mechanicals have been equipped with the same termination protocol, which must be activated from a terminal in the plant. Once the mechanicals are finished cleaning out Edgewater, I'll need you to go in and clean out the mechanicals. Understand? One last thing. Spacer's Choice sent a team of soldiers to investigate your little misadventure in the geothermal plant. Tread lightly. I like you, Captain, but you're not worth that much paperwork. I prefer keeping our relationship strictly off the books. Report back to me when the job's done.
One person gets all this space just to sign papers all day?
Good afternoon. I'm Chairman Rockwell, and I'm here to address a serious issue.
I beg your pardon. Minister Clark's former office is currently closed to solicitors. What? Oh dear. Thank you for reminding me. I can't stand the thought of someone else's hands touching my custom letterheads.
Hol megyek le? Ja.
Not so fast. The Ministry of Accuracy and Morale is off limits to everyone without X-36 level clearance.
It's okay. I'm a doctor.
I don't care if you're a brain surgeon. If you don't work here, or for Chairman Rockwell himself, you're not getting in.
Worth a try. You'd be surprised how often that works.
Like I said, X-36 clearance only beyond this point. I don't know how you got that, but I still don't know you, and I don't have any new clearances on the list.
Hogy jutok le oda?
Hey, did Kilman get transferred or something?
Sorry, I shouldn't talk. Not without signing a waiver.
UDL's been...
Nem működik. Mi nem működik? most működik. Hogy is van? Charm, personality növelős kell. A charmot növeli. Mind, body. Megpróbáljuk ezzel.
Not so fast. The Ministry of Accuracy and Morale is off limits to everyone without...
It's okay.
What? Like I said. And you're still not clear.
Mind, body.
Like I said. What? Oh no. You must be from Chairman Rockwell's office. I'm so sorry. No one told me you were coming. Please, go on through. And let's forget this misunderstanding, huh?
Megbocsájtom. Ez a lift, jó van. Mi a helyzet?
What? Huh?
Aha, ez a lift hova visz? Oké. Ez egy shortcut. Azt tudom kiszedjük. Ha. Nincs létre. És nem tudok leugrani, miért? Ez buzi. Nagyon menjünk erre. Pillanat, töltök. Nem megyünk szemtanúkat. Hol a büdös... Na mindegy.
Adjutant Akande has instructed me to reward you for information leading to the arrest of Phineas Wells. Please allow me to extend my felicitations on a job well done. Quite so, madam. As an acting agent of the board, you are entitled to purchase a selection of official board-certified equipment at a discount. Do let me know if you wish to take advantage of this special offer. I am at your service.
Nem jó egy Nagy. Na mindegy. De be kell menni, de hova kell menni? Pedig ez az unreliable. Nehéz szó.
I believe I hear Felix and Parvati discussing the latest Aetherwave serial.
I don't know if you watched the big finale, but
I swear, next time we put into Groundbreaker, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna ask her over. Oh, I'm so nervous. Having trouble focusing on my work.
I didn't sign up for this.
Menjünk el a Grand Bakerre, csináljunk meg Parvatinek ezt a szart.
Captain Hawthorne never worked to support the board before, at least not officially. I suppose. Destination reached. The Groundbreaker.
Groundbreaker's safe from melting to bits now. Lots of good people can rest easy because of you.
Didn't I request?
All right. She's on her way. How do I look? Well, I hope June Lay's a little more impressed. Oh, my hands have finally stopped shaking. All right. Deep breath. Here I go. Anyhow, so I told him, Dad, I'm a big girl now. I ain't need your help. Look at me, all dressed up for once. June called me pretty. Hi, Captain.
Some crew members are causing a
Okay, Captain, she's gone. I'm near about vibrating. I'm so excited. So she got here, and, well, she sneezed. She said, wow, new soap? And I was like, yeah, rose-ish. Turns out it tickled her nose. Oops. And then she just sort of touched my arm real gentle-like and called the cutting outfit elegant. I couldn't hear the rest on account of my heart was beating so hard. Then I led her into the kitchen. I think she about cried when she saw the spread. She stood stock still and just said, oh, real soft. Oh, and let me tell you, I was sweating. And then she blinked and said, is that dustbat casserole? I told her how we got Mr. Raymond to bake it for us, so it was double authentic. Made by a real live monarch person. Well, we talked a bunch over dinner about the things we learned just through messages, stuff we repaired, how I taught her to salvage and she taught me to build. When I brung out the sweetheart cakes, June, she got a little teary, said she had a thing she needed to say. But I stopped her because I wanted to say it first. I never felt so bold, Captain. One of us has got to be. We're both... June's so reserved and I'm so shy. I worried if I never said anything, nothing would ever get said, you know? I told her about how she made me feel. Bold like I acted. Strong. Smarter and kinder than I am on my lonesome. I listed all the things I liked about her. And then she pulled out a paper and read a speech. She talked about the things she admired about me, like my cleverness and my humor, and how it made her want to be more open. Anyhow, when she wrapped up, I asked her to be my girlfriend. And Captain, she said yes! And then she sneezed again, on account of the flowery soap. It's all on your account, you know? Imagine if you'd never taken me out of Edgewater. I'd have never met June Lay at all. I don't know nothing about the Vicar's capital P plan, but you've sure changed my life. So, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna head to my cabin and happy scream into my pillow for like an hour.
If you don't mind my saying, Captain, Minister Clark is lucky to have you on his side.
Az biztos.
We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
oxide, I'll take as much as you can give me. Human test subjects? Oh, that's grotesque. That's unthinkable. That's exactly what I'd expect out of the board. Thank you. You've brought me enough chemicals to get started, at least. I'm just sorry they came at the cost of human lives. Those poor people, they must have died in agony. What exactly was the board trying to accomplish? You say the board's trying to freeze their subjects over and over again without inflicting permanent damage? Well, they're nowhere close to solving that problem. Something about this feels wrong. I don't know why the board would ever conduct such an experiment, unless they're working on some kind of hibernation technology. I'll tell you this much. The board scientists are hopelessly lost. After years of fruitless experimentation, they've made exactly zero progress. I know! I've suspected as much for years. Of course, I don't expect the board to do a thing about it. They've been driving our colony to the brink of destruction for decades. The board's mismanagement put our colony on the road to collapse. If we don't put a stop to them, thousands of colonists are going to die. Hold on. Let me see if I understand this correctly. You're saying that Halcyon's on the brink of total collapse? And the chairman's plan to save all of us is to save himself? I always knew Halcyon was heading toward a systems collapse, but I never imagined we were already there. The board made this crisis, and now they want to solve it by freezing the rest of us? That's not a plan. That's a goddamn escape clause. Do you realize what this means for the Hope? For your fellow colonists? The board's going to kill them all. Toss them out into space, just to make room in their hibernation chambers. Short of lining up every member of the board and shooting them in the back of the head. Do you know what's waiting for us on the Hope? Scientists, engineers, artists, the brightest minds Earth ever sent us, uncorrupted by the board. The board's going to dispose of them all and transform the Hope into a prison for the rest of us. They're likely on their way to the Hope as we speak. We need to get to those colonists before the board. I have enough chemicals to start reviving a few of them, but no easy way to get them off the Hope. Merciful gibbering law, you're a genius! We bring the Hope to us. Skip the entire ship across the distance of colony space, right next to my lab. Yes, exactly. You're a step ahead of me, but I perceive the shape of your plan. If we link up the Hope to the Unreliable, then use your navigational computer to calculate a reasonably safe vector, we can skip the entire colony ship into the rings of Terra 2.
I don't know much about skip drives, not the physics anyhow. I do know the Hope's real massive. How's our bitty little ship supposed to skip it?
Excellent question, my sharp-witted mechanic. You will use your own ship to power up the Hope's skip drive. Your navigational computer can handle the rest.
I've got a healthy disregard for personal safety, but this sounds crazy, even to me.
Your instincts are correct. By any reasonable definition of sanity, this plan is crazy. Isn't it wonderful? You'll need to switch on the Hope's auxiliary power using the Unreliable. Then head to the bridge. Your navigational computer, Ada, should be able to activate the Hope's skip drive. Once you've skipped the Hope next to my lab, I'll have easy access to the frozen colonists. I can start reviving them immediately. I know you're wondering why I'm doing all this. Why I believe the people on the Hope are the answer to the colony's problems. The hope is carrying some of humanity's most brilliant thinkers, scientists, engineers, experts in their field. If we work together, we can still find a way to save Halcyon. The board would have us believe Halcyon is beyond saving. I choose to believe otherwise. If there's even the slightest chance we can save Halcyon from oblivion, then we have to take it. Certainly. How can I help? It wouldn't surprise me. When I pulled you out of the Hope, the board nearly intercepted me. I expect they stepped up security since my little act of larceny.
So, sneak onto a lost colony ship and skip it across the system. What could go wrong?
Unreliable.
Crew members Ellie and Max are engaged in a heated discussion in the kitchen. Destination reached. The Groundbreaker.
Jól esik az FPS a csudiba.
Great. Wanna try?
Is it done? Well, well. Looks like someone's due for a promotion. How does Vice President of Aggressive Acquisitions sound to you, contractor? You've certainly earned it, my blood-soaked rising star. Catherine heard I was taking you on full-time and sent along a present of her own. I've had it delivered to your ship. From now on, the board will think twice before fucking with Lilia Hagen, savior of humanity. Be sure to mention that in your travels. We could use the free advertising.
Hey, we don't work for exposure.
I'm not sure we should go telling folks we had anything to do with this.
Well, if there's nothing else, I need to review some applications, seeing as I just lost my best contractor. These days, the scrap business all but runs itself. Gives me the time to expand our interests into other sectors, where I can let my hair down. Our field is persuasive acquisitions. At least that's how my legal advisors tell me to phrase it. Not all of our salvage is abandoned when we find it. Sometimes it takes a polite conversation
and a shot across the bow. You know, legal formalities. Your words, not mine. Hey, careful with the C word around here. I like to keep things above board, and that kind of talk only makes trouble. Sublight occupies a legal blind spot. No one knows what we're licensed to do, and that gives our little business some freedom. But let's not tempt fate. Very. I have this thing about numbers in spreadsheets. Grids in general. I like to think of myself as the last honest businesswoman in Halcyon, but I'll settle for being the most organized one. Ask. I have nothing to hide. Not as much as I'd like. The board dispatched it to Earth on a resupply mission, I think. Why? Interesting. It's possible the board wanted the cruiser to disregard ancillary tasks. But to what end? I'll have someone look into it. But for the moment, we're pissing in the wind and shooting in the dark. Considering how you get around, you'll probably find answers before I do. Be seeing you. Make sure you aren't followed on your way out.
Captain. Felix and the Vicar are arguing again.
Hagyj veszekedjenek, és miért baj?
We have arrived at the Hope. I need you to reroute power from our ship to the Hope's auxiliary generator. You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system so I can convince her central computer to enable the skip drive. If your calculations are even slightly off, you could crash the entire colony ship into Terra 2. Or the Sun. Forgetfulness can be an early warning sign of asphyxiation due to loss of pressurization. Are you breathing comfortably, Captain? I need you to reroute power from our ship to the Hope's auxiliary generator. You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system so I can convince her central computer to enable the skip drive. Again.
Let's hope we don't have to run in a hurry. Nice going.
You know, when they posted us here, I told them there wasn't any point. Nobody would be so stupid as to fly to the ass end of the colony for this derelict. Shows how much I know. You've got about 5 seconds to tell me what you're doing here before I make you take a walk outside. Explode? Holy shit. Alright. You'll want a uniform so my staff doesn't shoot you on sight. They're a dangerous mix of bored and trigger happy. We've got a few extra in the old badge station to my right. Good luck.
Szóval akkor átköltözni. Hogy néz ki?
Can we talk? Something you need?
So we're really gonna do this? I've seen lots of crazy, Captain, but Phineas is in a class of his own. Do you really think he knows what he's doing? Sending us to skip the Hope into Terra-2's orbit right under the board's nose? Something tells me you're the first person to ever utter those words, Captain. I think this whole plan's insane, but it'll make a good story, you know, if we survive. Speaking of, I get that Phineas thinks he's saving the colony, but what about you? Why risk your neck on this crazy scheme? Coming from anyone else, that would sound like a line from one of those Odeon Pictures movies, but I think you really mean it. Still, all this depends on the other Hope colonists. Are they gonna pull us out of the shit? Or are we all just gonna leave a bigger, uglier stain on this corner of the galaxy? You're too trusting, and I'm gonna remember that when I negotiate for my cut of our reward, okay? Well, whenever you're ready to do this, I'm with you. Anything else?
Nem kösz. Igen, nekem ruha.
Good luck.
all right, Captain? I mean...
Can you hear me, Captain? I have successfully integrated myself into the Hope's comm systems, and am attempting to establish contact with the Hope's more primitive processor now. Would you like me to play a mood-suitable music selection while you travel to the bridge? Oh, sorry. File not found.
Flamethrower 2.0. 125 cm. Jó lesz! Csillada. Alakul elősze.
That's the Hope's computer up ahead. I'll admit, I am curious to wake him. Greetings, Captain. I am speaking to you through the Hope's computer system. It's a rather cramped feeling, but it'll do. Are you sure? That is extremely dangerous. Skipping the Hope will void the warranty on the skip drive. And also potentially kill an entire planet. How is my humor now, Captain? Improved? Jump starting the skip drive. Destination set to the rings of Terra 2.
In case I don't get another chance to say it, it's been interesting, Captain.
Doing it. I mean, affirmative. Skipping the Hope in 3, 2, 1.
ADA, does your captain seriously intend to do a micro-jump in system with engines that haven't been powered in 70 years on a derelict ship?
That is what my captain intends, yes.
But that is a gross misuse of the skip drive. The Zero Point Drives Corp and I will not be held responsible for any damage incurred during transport, and this will cause extreme damage.
Yes, I am aware of that.
You should not be doing this. The humans will die.
Thank you, Hope. It looks like all systems are go. Captain, I would advise you to hold on to something. Now.
Na, sikerül.
Oh, good. We are still alive and have successfully skipped into Terra 2's orbit.
Guess I'm getting paranoid.
Na nézzük. Vissza kell jutnom. Ez így nem jó. Így jó.
You never felt anything like that. I'm gonna need a minute.
Vissza a laborba.
Captain, I shall now play the transmission I received from Dr. Wells.
The board is here. They've found me somehow. They're about to blast my door open. I can't stop them from getting me, and there isn't enough time to explain everything. But there's something very important you need to remember. The board, all their lackeys, they're all a bunch of swine. Do you hear me? They're fucking corporate swine. You fucking pigs! I'll take you all out with me! I'll never...
It would seem the recording captured some rather dire events. I presume you'll want to dock at the orbital lab to check on your associate as soon as possible? How can I be of assistance? See you soon, Captain.
Úgyse lesz ott.
We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
Nem sok minden maradt belőlük. Hogy állok a hackkel? 64 és mennyi kell hozzá? 90. Ez mi tech skill? Hack. Stealed. Jó. Handgun. Heavy. Lockpick, lockpick. Mind cuccos, növelős cuccos kell. Buddy. Buddy. Én nem lehet ezt valami alapján sorba rakni. Nyolcvankilences kajak! Öcsém! Nem már! Várja. Kell inventory. Aj, faszomat. Kaffi, alkohol. A lockpickbe ezek 127 kezd. Kinyitottam. Ezt kell, megittunk egy csomón. Üres. Amó. Mi kell nekem? Inventory. És ez energy. Ó, nagyon. Ó, nagyon jó lesz ez ide nekünk.
A reminder to all crew members. There is only one captain, as it appears we may soon be embarking for a maximum security prison planet. I believe the crew would like to speak with you to, as you humans put it, air some concerns.
So, Phineas got himself taken to Tartarus. That's usually a one-way trip.
And here we are, entertaining the notion of busting him out. That's insane. And likely a hell of a lot of fun.
To extract the scientist, you will need to infiltrate the labyrinth. But that course of action is likely to be quite dangerous, Captain. I am programmed to warn you whenever you exhibit inclinations toward risky behavior. Breaking into Tartarus will not be easy.
Getting in is the simple part. It's getting out again that's the trouble. Trust me, I know.
Let's just do it. Kick down some doors, grab Doc Wells, and cut a path out. We don't need a plan. We got guns.
If you really mean to do this, you should see to your final affairs and close out any unfinished business. Once you sneak into Tartarus, you may be there a while. Or permanently.
It's the craziest plan I've ever heard. And I mean that as a compliment.
You didn't hire me to think. And I ain't about to start now. You're my boss. And I'll walk into fire with you.
I think it's insane. But maybe the colony needs a healthy dose of insanity right about now.
I know it's dangerous. And I won't lie and say I'm not scared out of my wits. But I couldn't live with myself if we didn't do something.
You're asking for more than bravery from us, Captain. But there are worse ways to go than dying for a good cause. I'm in.
Let Sam get the grime out. It's what our units do best.
The entire plan is a terrible idea. But I admire your bravado, Captain. Which leads me to illogically believe, against the odds, that you will be successful.
If we don't make it, at least it'll be a great story.
Got my trusty tossball stick, got my ass-kicking boots. I'm ready, boss.
Outstanding.
You can count on us, Captain. We're crew. For real crew. That means we got each other's backs. Right?
Never thought I'd volunteer to break into a prison. Seems like your tendency towards risky behavior is rubbing off on me, Captain.
Command not recognized.
Waiting on your command, Captain.
Akkor baszassuk. Ezt még csináljuk gyorsan.
We're now in orbit above Stellar Bay, Captain. Take someone to our back, please.
Már voltam pedig, na mindegy.
Hey, Cass. Knock, knock.
This looks like the place. I see you're still in one piece. However, you never know when that could change. Consider our accidentally torn into tiny fragments coverage. Note that all of your fragments must be recovered and must be smaller than a standard bit cartridge for the payouts to kick in. I remember that one. That's the young socialite who broke her neck, right?
Of course, no one remembers me for the marauders I've killed or the bits I've stolen. Typical.
That claim was airtight. Our best investigators couldn't find an exclusion for that one. You can't, of course. Only Miss Fenhill can assign her beneficiaries. And she's dead. If we let every friend, relative, and acquaintance change a policy like that, people would do it all the time. Imagine the paperwork. Oh, you mean hypothetically? Well, hypothetically, you'd access the terminal in the back room that contains data on all our policies. And you'd, theoretically, add the beneficiary of your choice. But you wouldn't actually do that, of course. That would be fraud. Of course she is. The paperwork says so.
I like to think she's dead in spirit, but technically, legally, and regretfully, I'm still Marilyn Fenhill.
That's impossible. By all accounts, she was an elegant and classy woman with impossibly fine bone structure. That couldn't possibly be you.
That's gotta be the nicest thing anyone's said to me in a long while.
Please, my policy only covers paper cuts and wrist strain. Very well, I'll do it. But then you've got to go. Confrontations like this will raise my premiums. I'll need the name of the new beneficiary.
Ellie Fenhill?
If you say so. The payouts will flow exclusively into the new account at the start of the month. I hope Ms. Fenhill enjoys her newfound prosperity.
Captain, got a minute?
You really did it. Give these payouts a few years and I'll be rolling in it. Hey, you did the real work. All I had to do was not be dead. I'm just glad my folks aren't gonna live off that awful story they made up. Maybe now they'll have to go back to real jobs. Yeah. The funny thing about getting what you want is then you gotta figure out what to do with it. I've never been much of a planner. Makes my eyeballs itch. If only you could have been my chief surgeon back in the day. Anyway, enough of that. You did a job for me, so here's your fee. Don't make it weird. Even you've got to be in it for the money now and then. Why else would you go through all this trouble? You sure? Because my kind of friends will pick your pocket clean while they're getting hammered with you. You don't have to get all mushy about it. Still, maybe you've got a point. Maybe it's good to watch someone's back now and then so that one day they watch yours. So, you just keep the money. One of us has to look out for your interests. It's nothing personal. It's just the closest thing I've got to a code. Anyway, enough of the touchy-feelies, huh?
Vissza a hajóra. És már tényleg csak az a küldi van.
Some crew members are causing a disturbance. I am pleased to inform you that we have arrived at the labyrinth. Please be advised that the punishment for trespassing is execution. Please be advised that electrical storms on the surface of Tartarus make departure impossible at this time. Resident count is as follows: 3,071. Resident deaths, including but not limited to executions, are as follows: 1,684. Resident escapes are as follows: 0. The interior can be chilly. Take a scarf with you, Captain. I would also ask that you leave your captain's ID with me, in the event that you do not return. Understood. If you die or are incarcerated for life, I can generate a new ID for the next captain. I would prefer if you return, though. Oh, speak of the devil. Captain, I am receiving a transmission from the prison's docking authority now.
Attention, unauthorized spacecraft. This is a maximum security installation. Your presence here is an explicit violation of UDL corporate policy. You are hereby confined to your docking platform until a ticket detailing your crimes has been filed and notarized, at which point your vessel will be seized and you will be executed. I wager it'll take a bit longer than it takes you to lose your patience and storm out of your ship looking to get shot. To be honest, that'd make my job a lot easier. You come out, we shoot you full of holes, and then everyone goes about their day worry-free. Except you. You'll be dead. Protocol is important, ma'am. The sentencing of one crime does not preclude the sentencing of another, technically speaking. Tartarus Docking Authority signing up. Hang on. Looks like you're gonna have company at the execution. Another ship just pulled into your dock. Wait, is that from the groundbreaker? What the? Pay no mind to that. Just have a pleasant day.
Transmission terminated. How can I be of assistance? Goodbye.
Mindjárt jövök. Itt vagyok. Ragyogok. Ellie? Miért csak Ellie van itt?
Captain did right by us once. Now it's ours. The board will never own Cloudbreaker. Not while I breathe. Push on, Mardat.
Onnan a faszomból jött ide. A segítség hamar megadta magát.
Oh, wait.
Sure never planned on seeing the inside of this place.
This might be the loneliest place in the whole system.
a few options.
What was that?
Look out! Get off!
De hova a büdös faszba mész? Meg komolyan.
Sublight has arrived. Hey, kid. A little bird? Now's not the time for buddy!
Anyád! Vesszük. Jó. Jó. Ezt a fegyót nem tudom modifálni. Mi? Úgy érzem, hogy a világ összes lőszerére szükségem lesz. Jó lesz. Van lőszerem most, már elég lesz talán. Ezt is megvettük. Jó. Az itt meg tudom hackelni, vagy valami. Szépen sebzik egymást. Lebegő leváltok sem. Kitűnően leajolják észtek. Ashes to ashes. Jó. Ja, hogy... Elosonhattam volna. Mindent értek.
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus.
Nem biztos.
Taking a mechanic under your wing. What's the matter, girl? Couldn't find actual employment?
The captain's treated me right. Better than any of you bored folk ever have. I'm exactly where I want to be.
Ah, and the wayward doctor. Are you about done with your escapades? We have faces that need lifting after all.
These days, I'm more interested in breaking them. Wouldn't mind taking a swing at yours.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'll want it recognizable to show to my citizens. My word! You've correctly identified the most recognizable man in the colony. Remarkable. It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again, he's an insane person. Thankfully, he's our insane person now. A proper company man. Oh, the look on your face. Fantastic. No, he isn't quite there yet. A bit more torture will help, I think. But that's between us. As far as my adoring citizens will know, we've turned a dangerous crackpot into a working-class man. It's a miracle.
about this, Captain.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. I don't like being played. When you delivered Wells into my hands, I was operating under the assumption that I'd won your loyalty. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty. I'm afraid I can't do that. You have a flair for subtlety. If you'd worked for me, you would have been the greatest fixer Halcyon has ever seen. For all your talents, you are the enemy of Halcyon, and therefore you are my enemy. Our partnership is behind us. You had your chance to work with me, but you elected to, as the common worker might say, throw in with that demented old test tube jockey. Dr. Wells is being held in my custody. His cooperation will prove invaluable, even if I have to beat it out of him. All that's left to do is put down this riot, arrest you, and then get on with the bloody business of saving this colony. I'm aware of your propensity for violence. Halcyon is a bloodier place because of you. You were one of my finest agents once. I don't want to destroy you. Turn yourself in, and I may yet show clemency. Fair enough. I'm giving you exactly one chance to parley with me. Yes, I'm quite aware of your brazen act of corporate vandalism. By the way, those test subjects you killed, they died in agony. My scientists assure me they can recover the data you've destroyed. You've succeeded in temporarily delaying our research. Nothing more. That isn't true. It can't be. You're trying to manipulate me. That experiment was absolutely essential to the program. My scientists assured me they were close to a breakthrough. They gave me their word. Damn you. You are telling the truth. My scientists have been lying to me, and I was stupid enough to trust them at their word. We're going to have to start all over again. All that research, all those experiments, you've set us back decades. You were always an unknown variable. I tried to recruit you, but you threw your lot in with that madman, Phineas Wells. This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it programmed to eliminate you on sight and rinse your remains down a drain. And don't worry, I will inform Dr. Wells that you died heroically, or something.
Fasza, pedig megúszhattam volna, hogy végiggyilkolásszam mindent. Na mindegy. Szopat, szopa, jó, meg szopatla. Visszatom zene.
plans, Cap.
Hacking. Hogy áll a hackingem? 60, 70 és 93 kell, hát az talán sikerül. A hacking az... Hack az personality, jó. Start skill. Hát akkor szét kell baszni. Ha meg kell baszódni, akkor meg kell baszódni. Orra.
Here they come! Everybody's on deck! Everyone all right?
Kicsit megromlott a fal.
Why won't you just...
Get me out of here!
A whole new world.
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind, and I can't begin to thank you enough. I'm all right, thanks to you. Akande wanted my cooperation. I'm quite sure she would have beaten it out of me if you hadn't arrived. You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
They haven't exactly been hands-on around here anyway. So there's one less rubber stamp to worry about.
Earth is humanity's home planet, Miss Fenhill. The psychological effects of losing our original home will be devastating.
You mean we're all alone out here? Really alone?
I'm afraid so, Miss Holcomb. Halcyon is the only home we have left. Returning to Earth is no longer an option. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own. Yes, we do. You've done a marvelous thing. You've succeeded where anyone else would have failed, including me. We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds, and then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time. We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us? I can't tell you how glad I am to hear that. When I revived you, I thought we were going to save this colony all by ourselves. But I was wrong. We can't save Halcyon on our own. We're all going to have to pull together, somehow. We are not a colony anymore. Our last connection to Earth has been severed. I don't know if we'll survive, but we're going to have to try our best.
Nincs föld, megszűn.
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment she landed in Emerald Vale, her actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. As the colony struggled to survive, the inspirational story of the iconoclasts spread like wildfire. and Graham was able to bring many of the smaller Terra 2 townships into the fold. However, his zealous obsession with spreading the word blinded him to the needs of a growing organization, and the movement was unsustainable at scale. The iconoclast way seemed to work best, and ultimately petered out on Monarch. Bolstered by her status as savior of humanity, Lilia Hagen ushered sublight salvage to a new golden age. Her company grew bolder and more transparent over time, muddying the line between lawful and criminal for the entire colony. The sublight family would thrive for years to come. The collapse of Edgewater left its workers bereft of any purpose in life. Most of them made their way to Adelaide McDevitt's camp, hoping to ingratiate themselves into her favor. Adelaide accepted only a few to her community. The rest were turned away and likely died of starvation. Nevertheless, Adelaide's camp grew into a well-established town. Adelaide McDevitt refused to cooperate with the ongoing effort to save Halcyon from collapse. A sympathetic deserter stole a copy of her research and delivered it to the Hope's scientists. It is unclear how useful Adelaide's research was. An optimistic estimate suggests her work may have bought Halcyon another few years of survival. Adelaide would never know. She died that winter. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the Lifetime Employment Program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective. She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless. Unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself, Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker, and Parvati enthusiastically, if somewhat awkwardly, agreed. The stories of her adventures spread across the colony, and Parvati soon found herself the center of attention. Having served as the engineer of a renowned spacecraft, tramp freighters and wildcat miners sought her out by name, and in no time, she was a fixture in the Groundbreaker's mechanical ecosystem. She and Junlei were never far apart. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, a mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. Though he was always haunted by the failures of his past, he was determined to make things right by building toward the future. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the Ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. The revival project was hard and painful work, but in the end, despite limited resources, over half the Hope's colonists were successfully revived. Even after Wells passed away, the Hope scientists and engineers worked night and day to pull Halcyon from the brink of collapse. Their efforts continue to this day, which may be reason enough for optimism. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Life will never be the same in Halcyon. It is widely agreed that the colony has a chance of stabilizing within a generation, owing to the hard work and determination of the surviving colonists. Recovery is a distant goal, and the path is long and uncertain. But the people of Halcyon carry on, determined as ever. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster. The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.
Hát ennyi volt. Köszi a figyelmet és bye!